PlayStation.
The PlayStation is a series of video game consoles created and developed by Sony Computer Entertainment with consoles in the 5th to 8th generations. The brand was first introduced on December 3, 1994 in Japan with the launch of the original PlayStation console. It now consists of a total of 4 core home consoles, as well as a media center, an online service, a line of controllers, 2 handhelds and a phone, as well as multiple magazines. The first console in the series, the PlayStation, was the first video game console to ship 100 million units, 9 years and 6 months after its initial launch. Its successor, the PlayStation 2, was released in 2000. The PlayStation 2 is the best-selling home console to date, having reached over 155 million units sold as of December 28, 2012. Sony's next console, the PlayStation 3, was released in 2006 and has sold over 80 million consoles worldwide as of November 2013. Sony's latest console, the PlayStation 4, was released in 2013, selling 1 million consoles in its first 24 hours on sale, becoming the fastest-selling console in history. The first handheld game console in the PlayStation series, the PlayStation Portable or PSP, has sold a total of 80 million units worldwide as of November 2013. Its successor, the PlayStation Vita, which launched in Japan on December 17, 2011 and in most other major territories in February 2012 has sold 4 million units as of January 2013. Other hardware released as part of the PlayStation series includes the PSX, a digital video recorder which was integrated with the PlayStation and PlayStation 2. Though it was short-lived due to its high price and was never released outside Japan, as well as a Sony Bravia television set which has an integrated PlayStation 2. The main series of controllers utilized by the PlayStation series is the DualShock, which is a line of vibration feedback gamepad having sold 28 million controllers as of June 28, 2008. The PlayStation Network is an online service with over 110 million users worldwide, as of July 2013. It comprises an online virtual market, the PlayStation Store, which allows the purchase and download of games and various forms of multimedia, a subscription-based online service known as PlayStation Plus and a social gaming networking service called PlayStation Home, which has over 31 million users worldwide, as of March 2013. PlayStation Suite is an upcoming software framework that is aimed to provide PlayStation content cross-platform and cross-devices. Currently only Android and the PlayStation Vita devices are supported. Content set to be released under the framework consist of only original PlayStation games currently. 7th-generation PlayStation products also use the XR-OSS Media Bar, which is an award-winning graphical user interface. A new touchscreen-based user interface called Live Area was launched for the PlayStation Vita, which integrates social networking elements into the interface. Additionally, PlayStation 2 and original PlayStation 3 consoles also featured support for Linux-based operating systems, though this has since been discontinued. The series has also been known for its numerous marketing campaigns, the latest of which being the Greatness Awaits commercials in the United States. The series also has a strong lineup of first-party titles due to Sony Computer Entertainment Worldwide Studios, a group of 15 first-party developers owned by Sony Computer Entertainment which are dedicated to developing first-party games for the series. In addition, the series features various budget re-releases of titles by Sony with different names for each region. These include the greatest hits, platinum and the best ranges of titles.
History. Origins.
PlayStation was the brainchild of Kenki Teraji, a Sony executive who had just come out of his hardware engineering division at that time and would later be dubbed as the father of the PlayStation. The console's origins date back to 1988 where it was originally a joint project between Nintendo and Sony to create a CD-ROM for the Super Famicom. Although Nintendo denied the existence of the Sony deal as late as March 1991, Sony revealed a Super Famicom with a built-in CD-ROM drive, that incorporated Green Book technology (ORC) at the Consumer Electronics Show in June 1991. However, a day after the announcement at CES, Nintendo announced that it would be breaking its partnership with Sony, opting to go with Philips instead but using the same technology. The deal was broken by Nintendo after they were unable to come to an agreement on how revenue would be split between the two companies. The breaking of the partnership infuriated Sony president Norio Oga, who responded by appointing Kitaraji with the responsibility of developing of the PlayStation project to rival Nintendo. At that time, negotiations were still ongoing between Nintendo and Sony, with Nintendo offering Sony a non-gaming role regarding their new partnership with Philips. This proposal was swiftly rejected by Kitaraji, who was facing increasing criticism over his work with regard to entering the video game industry from within Sony. Negotiations officially ended in May 1992, and in order to decide the fate of the PlayStation project, a meeting was held in June 1992, consisting of Sony President Oga, PlayStation head Kitaraji and several senior members of Sony's board. At the meeting, Kitaraji unveiled a proprietary CD-ROM-based system he had been working on, which involved playing video games with 3D graphics to the board. Eventually, Sony President Oga decided to retain the project after being reminded by Kitaraji of the humiliation he suffered from Nintendo. Nevertheless, due to strong opposition from a majority present at the meeting as well as widespread internal opposition to the project by the older generation of Sony executives, Kitaraji and his team had to be shifted from Sony's headquarters to Sony Music, a completely separate financial entity owned by Sony, so as to retain the project and maintain relationships with Philips for the MMCD development project, which helped lead to the creation of the DVD.
Formation of Sony Computer Entertainment.
At Sony Music, Kitaraji worked closely with Shigeru Maruyama, the CEO of Sony Music, and with Akira Sato to form Sony Computer Entertainment, Incorporated, SCEI, on November 16, 1993. A building block of SCEI was its initial partnership with Sony Music, which helped SCEI attract creative talent to the company as well as assist SCEI in manufacturing, marketing and producing discs, something that Sony Music had been doing with music discs. The final two key members of SCEI were Terry Tokunaka, the president of SCEI from Sony's headquarters, and Olaf Olafsson. Olafsson was CEO and president of New York-based Sony Interactive Entertainment, which was the mother company for the 1994 founded Sony Computer Entertainment of America, SCEA. The PlayStation project, SCEI's first official project, was finally given the green light by Sony executives in 1993 after a few years of development. Also in 1993, Phil Harrison, who would later become president of Sony Computer Entertainment Worldwide Studios, was recruited into SCEI to attract developers and publishers to produce games for their new PlayStation platform. After a demonstration of Sony's distribution plan as well as tech demos of its new console to game publishers and developers in a hotel in Tokyo in 1994, numerous developers began to approach PlayStation. Two of whom later became major partners were Electronic Arts in the West and Namco in Japan. One of the factors which attracted developers to the platform was the use of a 3D-capable, CD-ROM-based console, which was much cheaper and easier to manufacture for in comparison to Nintendo's rival console, which used cartridge systems. The project eventually hit Japanese stores in October 1994 and gained massive sales due to its lower price point than its competitor, the Sega Saturn. Popularity of the console spread after its release worldwide in North America and Europe.
Home consoles. PlayStation.
The original PlayStation, released on December 3, 1994, was the first of the ubiquitous PlayStation series of console and handheld game devices. It has included successor consoles and upgrades including the Net Euros, a special black PlayStation with tools and instructions to program PlayStation games and applications, FSON, a smaller version of the original, and the Pocket Station, a handheld which enhances PlayStation games and also acts as a memory card. It was part of the fifth generation of video game consoles competing against the Sega Saturn and the Nintendo 64. By March 31, 2005, the PlayStation and Sony had shipped a combined total of 102.49 million units, becoming the first video game console to sell 100 million units.
Sony.
Released on July 7, 2000, concurrently with its successor the PlayStation 2, the Sony was a considerably smaller, redesigned version of the original PlayStation video game console. The Sony went on to outsell all other consoles, including its successor, throughout the remainder of the year. It featured two main changes from its predecessor, the first being a cosmetic change to the console and the second being the home menu's graphical user interface.
PlayStation 2.
Released in 2000, 15 months after the Dreamcast and a year before its other competitors, the Xbox and the Nintendo GameCube, the PlayStation 2 is part of the sixth generation of video game consoles, and is backwards compatible with most original PlayStation games. Like its predecessor, it has received a slimmer redesign, and was also released built into the PSX DVR in the Sony Bravia KDL22PX300 HD TV. It is the most successful home console in the world, having sold over 155 million units sold as of December 28, 2012. On November 29, 2005, the PS2 became the fastest game console to reach 100 million units shipped, accomplishing the feat within 5 years and 9 months from its launch. This achievement occurred faster than its predecessor, the PlayStation, which took 9 years and 6 months since launch to reach the same figure. PlayStation 2 shipments in Japan ended on December 28, 2012. The Guardian reported on January 4, 2013 that PS2 production had ended worldwide. But studies show that many people all around the world still own one even if it is no longer in use.
Slimline model.
Released in 2004, 4 years after the launch of the original PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 2 Slimline was the first major redesign of the PlayStation 2. Compared to its predecessor, the Slimline was smaller, thinner, quieter and also included a built-in Ethernet port. In some markets it also has an integrated modem. In 2007, Sony began shipping a revision of the Slimline which was lighter than the original Slimline together with a lighter AC adapter. In 2008, Sony released yet another revision of the Slimline which had an overhauled internal design incorporating the power supply into the console itself like the original PlayStation 2, resulting in a further reduced total weight of the console.
PlayStation 3.
Released on November 17, 2006 in North America, the PlayStation 3 is a seventh-generation game console from Sony. It competes with the Microsoft Xbox 360 and the Nintendo Wii. The PS3 is the first console in the series to introduce the use of motion sensing technology through its 6-axis wireless controller. The console also incorporates a Blu-ray disc player and features high-definition resolution. The PS3 was originally offered with either a 20 GB or 60 GB hard drive, but over the years its capacity increased in increments available up to 500 GB. The PlayStation 3 has sold over 80 million consoles worldwide as of November 2013.
Slim model.
Like its predecessors, the PlayStation 3 was re-released in 2009 as a slim model. The redesigned model is 33% smaller, 36% lighter, and consumes 34% to 45% less power than previous models. In addition, it features a redesigned cooling system and a smaller cell processor which was moved to a 45 nanometers manufacturing process. It sold in excess of 1 million units within its first 3 weeks on sale. The redesign also features support for CEC, more commonly referred to by its manufacturer brandings of Bravia Sync, VIERA Link, Easy Link and others, which allows control of the console over HDMI by using the remote control as the controller. The PS3 Slim also runs quieter and is cooler than previous models due to its 45 nanometer cell. The PS3 Slim no longer has the main power switch, similar to PlayStation 2 Slim. Like the previous PS3 models, which was located at the back of the console. It was officially released on September 1, 2009 in North America and Europe and on September 3, 2009 in Japan, Australia and New Zealand.
Super Slim model.
In 2012, Sony revealed a new Super Slim PlayStation 3. The new console, with a completely redesigned case which is a sliding door covering the disk drive, which has been moved to the top of the console, is 4.3 pounds. Almost 3 pounds lighter than the previous Slim model. The console comes with either 12GB flash memory or a 250GB, 500GB hard drive. Several bundles which include a Super Slim PS3 and a selection of games are available.
PlayStation 4.
The PlayStation 4, PS4, is the latest video game console from Sony Computer Entertainment, announced at a press conference on February 20, 2013. In the meeting, Sony revealed some hardware specifications of the new console. The 8th generation system will introduce the x86 architecture to the PlayStation series and was launched in the fourth quarter of 2013. According to lead system architect, Mark Cerny, development on the PlayStation 4 began as early as 2008. PlayStation Europe CEO Jim Ryan emphasized in 2011 that Sony wanted to avoid launching the next-generation console behind the competition. Among the new applications and services, Sony introduced the PlayStation app, allowing PS4 owners to turn smartphones and tablets into a second screen to enhance gameplay. The company also plans to debut PlayStation Now game streaming service, powered by technology from Gaikai. By incorporating a share button on the new controller and making it possible to view in-game content being streamed live from friends, Sony plans to place more focus on social gameplay as well. The PlayStation 4 was released in November 2013.
Comparison. Handheld systems. PlayStation Portable.
Released in December 2004 and March 2005, the PlayStation Portable, PSP, was Sony's first handheld console to compete with Nintendo's DS console. The console is the first to utilize a new proprietary optical storage medium known as Universal Media Disc, UMD, which can store both games and movies. It contains 32 MB of internal flash memory storage, expandable via memory stick PRO Duo cards. It has a similar control layout to the PS3 with its PlayStation logo button and its triangle, circle O, cross X and square buttons in their white-colored forms.
2000 and 3000 models.
Released in September 2007, the PSP 2000, also known as the Slim and Light in PAL territories, was the first major hardware revision of the PlayStation Portable. The 2000 series was 33% lighter and 19% slimmer than the original PlayStation Portable. The capacity of the battery was also reduced by 1/3, but the runtime remained the same as the previous model due to lower power consumption. Older model batteries will still work and they extend the amount of playing time. The PSP Slim and Light has a new gloss finish. Its serial port was also modified in order to accommodate a new video out feature, while rendering older PSP remote controls incompatible. On a PSP 2000, PSP games will only output to external monitors or TVs in progressive scan mode, so that televisions incapable of supporting progressive scan will not display PSP games. Non-game video will output in either progressive or interlaced mode. USB charging was also made possible. Buttons are also reportedly more responsive on the PSP 2000. In 2008, Sony released a second hardware revision called the PSP 3000, which included several features that were not present in the PSP 2000, such as a built-in microphone and upgraded screen, as well as the ability to output PSP games in interlaced mode.
PSP Go model.
Released in October 2009, the PSP Go is the biggest redesign of the PlayStation Portable to date. Unlike previous PSP models, The PSP Go does not feature a UMD drive but instead has 16 GB of internal flash memory to store games, videos and other media. This can be extended by up to 32 GB with the use of a memory stick micro, M2, flash card. Also, unlike previous PSP models, the PSP Go's rechargeable battery is not removable or replaceable by the user. The unit is 43% lighter and 56% smaller than the original PSP 1000 and 16% lighter and 35% smaller than the PSP 3000. It has a 3.8 inches 480x272 LCD, compared to the larger 4.3 480x272 pixel LCD on previous PSP models. The screen slides up to reveal the main controls. The overall shape and sliding mechanism are similar to that of Sony's Milocom 2 Internet device. The PSP Go is being produced and sold concurrently with its predecessor the PSP 3000, although it will not replace it. All games on the PSP Go must be purchased and downloaded from the PlayStation Store, as the handheld is not compatible with the original PSP's physical media, the Universal Media Disc. The handheld also features connectivity with the PlayStation 3's controllers, the 6-axis and DualShock 3 via Bluetooth connection.
E1000 model.
The PSP E1000 is a budget-focused PSP model which, unlike previous PSP models, does not feature Wi-Fi or stereo speakers, replaced by a single mono speaker, and has a matte charcoal black finish similar to the slim PlayStation 3. The E1000 was announced at Gamescom 2011 and available across the PAL region for an RRP of EU 99.99.
PlayStation Vita.
Released in December 2011, the PlayStation Vita was previously codenamed Next Generation Portable, NGP. It features a 5-inch OLED touchscreen, 2 analog sticks, a rear touchpad, 6-axis motion sensing and a 4-core ARM Cortex-A9 MPCORE processor. The PlayStation Vita was officially unveiled by Sony on January 27, 2011 at the PlayStation Meeting 2011.
PCH 2000 series model.
The new PCH 2000 series system is a lighter redesign of the device that was announced at the SCEJA press conference in September 2013 prior to the Tokyo Game Show. This model is 20% thinner and 15% lighter compared to the original model, has an additional hour of battery life, an LCD display instead of OLED, includes a micro USB Type-B port, 1 GB of internal storage memory, and will be available in Japan on October 10, 2013 in 6 colors, white, black, pink, yellow, blue, and olive green.
Other hardware. PSX 2003.
Released solely in Japan in 2003, the Sony PSX was a fully integrated DVR and PlayStation 2 video game console. It was the first Sony product to utilize the XROSS Media Bar, XMB, and can be linked with a PlayStation Portable to transfer videos and music via USB. It also features software for video, photo and audio editing. PSX supports online game compatibility using an internal broadband adapter. Games that utilize the PS2 HDD, for example, Final Fantasy XI, are supported as well. It was the first product released by Sony under the PlayStation brand that did not include a controller with the device itself.
Pocket Station.
The Pocket Station was a miniature game console created by SCE as a peripheral for the original PlayStation. Released exclusively in Japan on December 23, 1999, it featured a monochrome LCD display, a speaker, a real-time clock and infrared communication capability. It could also be used as a standard PlayStation memory card by connecting it to a PlayStation memory card slot. It was extremely popular in Japan and Sony originally had plans to release it in the United States, but the plan was ultimately scrapped due to various manufacturing and supply and demand problems.
Television sets.
Released in 2010, The Sony Bravia KDL22PX300 is a 22-inch 720p television which incorporates a PlayStation 2 console, along with 4 HDMI ports. A 24-inch 1080p PlayStation-branded 3D television, officially called the PlayStation 3D display, was released in late 2011. A feature of this 3D television is simulview. During multiplayer games, each player will only see their respective screen, in full HD, appear on the television through their respective 3D glasses, instead of seeing a split screen. For example, Player 1 will only see Player 1's screen displayed through their 3D glasses.
Sony Ericsson Xperia Play.
The Xperia Play is an Android-powered smartphone with a slide-up gamepad resembling the PSP Go developed by Sony Ericsson aimed at gamers, and is the first to be PlayStation certified. Also can download PlayStation's Suite app.
Sony Tablets.
Sony tablets are PlayStation-certified Android tablets, released in 2011, 2012, and 2013. They offer connectivity with PlayStation 3 controllers, and integrate with the PlayStation Network using a proprietary application. The following models were released between 2011 and 2013: S, Sony Tablet S, Sony Tablet P, Xperia Tablet S and Xperia Tablet Z.
PlayStation Vita TV.
PlayStation Vita TV is a microconsole and a non-portable variant of the PlayStation Vita handheld. It was announced on September 9, 2013 at a Sony Computer Entertainment Japan presentation. Instead of featuring a display screen, the console connects to a television via HDMI. Users can play using a DualShock 3 controller, although due to the difference in features between the controller and the handheld, certain games are not compatible with PS Vita TV, such as those that are dependent on the system's touchscreen, rear touchpad, microphone or camera. The device is said to be compatible with over 100 Vita games, as well as various digital PlayStation Portable, PlayStation and PC Engine titles. The system will support remote play compatibility with the PlayStation 4, allowing players to stream games from the PS4 to a separate TV connected to PS Vita TV, and will also allow users to stream content from video services such as Hulu and Nikoniko, as well as access the PlayStation Store. The system was released in Japan on November 14, 2013, with an international release yet to be announced.
Games.
Each console has a variety of games. Most games released on the original PlayStation are backwards compatible and can be played directly on its successors, the PlayStation 2, PSX and PlayStation 3. Some of these games can also be played on the PlayStation Portable, but they must be purchased and downloaded from a list of Sony classics from the PlayStation Store. Games released on the PlayStation 2 can currently only be played on the original console as well as the PSX and the early models of the PlayStation 3 which are backwards compatible. The PlayStation 3 has two types of games, those released on Blu-ray discs and downloadable games from the PlayStation Store. The PlayStation Portable consists of numerous games available on both its physical media, the Universal Media Disc and the digital download from the PlayStation Store. However, some games are only available on the UMD while others are only available on the PlayStation Store. The PlayStation Vita consists of games available on both its physical media, the PlayStation Vita card and digital download from the PlayStation Store.
First-party games.
Sony Computer Entertainment Worldwide Studios is a group of video game developers owned by Sony Computer Entertainment. It is dedicated to developing video games exclusively for the PlayStation series of consoles. The series has produced several best-selling franchises such as the Gran Turismo series of racing video games as well as critically acclaimed titles such as the Uncharted series. Other notable franchises include God of War, Twisted Metal and more recently, Little Big Planet and Motor Storm.
Re-releases.
Greatest Hits, North America, Platinum Range, PAL Territories, and the Best, Japan and Asia, are video games for the Sony PlayStation, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, and PlayStation Portable consoles that have been officially re-released at a lower price by Sony. Each region has its own qualifications to enter the re-release program. Initially, during the PlayStation era, a game had to sell at least 150,000 copies, later 250,000 and be on the market for at least a year to enter the greatest hits range. During the PlayStation 2 era, the requirements increased with the minimum number of copies sold increasing to 400,000 and the game had to be on the market for at least 9 months. For the PlayStation Portable, games had to be on the market for at least 9 months with 250,000 copies or more sold. Currently, a PlayStation 3 game must be on the market for 10 months and sell at least 500,000 copies to meet the greatest hits criteria. FSON Classics were games that were released originally on the PlayStation and have been re-released on the PlayStation Store for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Portable. Classics HD are compilations of PlayStation 2 games that have been remastered for the PlayStation 3 on a single disc with additional features such as upscaled graphics, PlayStation Move support, 3D support and PlayStation Network trophies. PlayStation Mobile, formerly PlayStation Suite, is a cross-platform, cross-device software framework aimed at providing PlayStation content, currently original PlayStation games, across several devices including PlayStation-certified Android devices as well as the PlayStation Vita.
Online services. PlayStation 2 Online Service.
Online gaming on PlayStation consoles first started in July 2001 with the release of PlayStation 2's unnamed online service in Japan. Later in August 2002 saw its release in North America, followed by the European release in June 2003. The service is still active and continues to be played by gamers.
PlayStation Network.
Released in 2006, the PlayStation Network is an online service focusing on online multiplayer gaming and digital media delivery. The service is provided and run by Sony Computer Entertainment for use with the PlayStation 3, and was later implemented on the PlayStation Portable, PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 4 video game consoles. The service currently has over 110 million users worldwide, as of July 2013. The Sony Entertainment Network provides other features for users like PlayStation Home, PlayStation Store, and trophies.
PlayStation Store.
The PlayStation Store is an online virtual market available to users of the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Portable game consoles via the PlayStation Network. The store uses both physical currency and PlayStation Network cards. The PlayStation Store's gaming content is updated every Tuesday and offers a range of downloadable content both for purchase and available free of charge. Available content includes full games, add-on content, playable demos, themes and game and movie trailers. The service is accessible through an icon on the XMB on the PS3 and PSP. The PS3 store can also be accessed on the PSP via a remote play connection to the PS3. The PSP store is also available via the PC application, MediaGo. As of September 24, 2009, there have been over 600 million downloads from the PlayStation Store worldwide. Video content such as films and television shows are also available from the PlayStation Store on the PlayStation 3 and PSP and will be made available on some new Sony Bravia televisions, VAI laptop computers and Sony Blu-ray disc players from February 2010.
Life with PlayStation.
Life with PlayStation was a folding-at-home application available for PlayStation 3 which connected to Stanford University's folding-at-home distributed computer network and allowed the user to donate their console's spare processing cycles to the project. Folding at Home is supported by Stanford University and volunteers make a contribution to society by donating computing power to this project. Research made by the project may eventually contribute to the creation of vital cures. The Folding at Home client was developed by Sony Computer Entertainment in collaboration with Stanford University. Life with PlayStation also consisted of a 3D virtual view of the Earth and contained current weather and news information of various cities and countries from around the world, as well as a World Heritage Channel which offered information about historical sites, and the United Village Channel which is a project designed to share information about communities and cultures worldwide. As of PlayStation 3 System Software Update version 4.30 on October 24, 2012, the Life with PlayStation project has ended.
PlayStation Plus.
PlayStation Plus, a subscription-based service on the PlayStation Network, complements the standard PSN services. It enables an auto-download feature which allows the console to automatically download game patches and system software updates. Subscribers also gain early or exclusive access to some betas, game demos, premium downloadable content, such as full game trials of retail games like Infamous and Little Big Planet, and other PlayStation Store items, as well as a free subscription ticker. Other downloadable items include PlayStation Store discounts and free PlayStation Network games, PSN Classics, PlayStation Minis, themes and avatars.
PlayStation Blog.
PlayStation Blog is an online PlayStation-focused gaming blog which is part of the PlayStation Network. It was launched on June 11, 2007 and since its launch, has featured in numerous interviews with third-party companies such as Square Enix. It also has posts from high-ranking Sony Computer Entertainment executives such as Jack Tretton, President and Chief Executive Officer of Sony Computer Entertainment. A subsite of the blog called PlayStation Blog Share was launched on March 17, 2010 and allowed readers of the blog as well as users of the PlayStation Blog to submit ideas to the PlayStation team about anything PlayStation related and vote on the ideas of other submissions.
PlayStation App.
The PlayStation app is an application that was released on January 11, 2011 in several European countries for iOS, version 4 and above, and for Android, version 1.6 and above, and has been installed more than 3.6 million times as of March 2, 2014. It allows users to view their trophies, see which of their PSN friends are online and read up-to-date information about PlayStation. It does not feature any gaming functionality.
PlayStation Mobile.
The PlayStation Mobile, formerly PlayStation Suite, is a software framework that will be used to provide downloadable PlayStation content to devices running Android 2.3 and above as well as the PlayStation Vita. The framework will be cross-platform and cross-device, which is what Sony calls hardware neutral. It is currently set to release before the end of calendar year 2011. In addition, Android devices that have been certified to be able to play back PlayStation Suite content smoothly will be certified with a PlayStation Certified certification.
PlayStation Now.
PlayStation Now is a Gaikai-based video game streaming service used to provide PlayStation gaming content to mobile devices, televisions, PlayStation 3, PS3, PlayStation Vita, and PlayStation 4, PS4. PlayStation Now, PS Now, was announced on January 7, 2014 at the 2014 Consumer Electronics Show. At CES, Sony presented demos of The Last of Us, God of War, Ascension, Puppeteer and Beyond, Two Souls, playable through PS Now on Bravia TVs and Vitas. The closed beta began in the US on January 28, and a full rollout is expected to be available in Q2-Q3 of 2014.
Online social networking services. PlayStation Home.
PlayStation Home is a community-based social gaming networking service for the PlayStation 3 on the PlayStation Network, PSN. It is available directly from the PlayStation 3 XOSS media bar. Membership is free, and only requires a PSN account. Home has been in development since early 2005 and started an open public beta test on December 11, 2008. Home allows users to create a custom avatar, which can be made to suit the user's preference. Users can decorate their avatar's personal apartment, home space with default, bought, or won items. They can travel throughout the home world, except cross-region, which is constantly updated by Sony and partners. Each part of the world is known as a space. Public spaces can just be for display, fun, or for meeting people. Home features many games which can be single-player or multiplayer. Users can shop for new items to express themselves more through their avatars or home space. Home features video screens in many places for advertising, but the main video content is shown at the theater for entertainment. Home plays host to a variety of special events which range from prize-giving events to entertaining events. Users can also use Home to connect with friends and customize content. Xi, a once notable feature of Home, is the world's first console-based alternate reality game that took place in secret areas in Home and was created by N-Dreams.
Room for PlayStation Portable.
Room, officially spelled as R-M with capital letters and the infinity symbol in place of the U, was being beta tested in Japan from October 2009 to April 2010. Development of Room has been halted on April 15, 2010 due to negative feedback from the community. Announced at TGS 2009, it was supposed to be a similar service to the PlayStation Home and was being developed for the PSP. Launching directly from the PlayStation Network section of the XMB was also to be enabled. Just like in Home, PSP owners would have been able to invite other PSP owners into their rooms to enjoy real-time communication. A closed beta test had begun in Q4 2009 in Japan.
Software. XROSS Media Bar.
The XROSS Media Bar, originally used on the PSX, is a graphical user interface currently used for the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Portable, as well as a variety of other Sony devices. The interface features icons that are spread horizontally across the screen. Navigation moves the icons instead of a cursor. These icons are used as categories to organize the options available to the user. When an icon is selected on the horizontal bar, several more appear vertically, above and below it, selectable by the up and down directions on a directional pad. The XMB can also be accessed in-game, albeit with restrictions. It allows players to access certain areas of the XMB menu from within the game and is only available for the PlayStation 3. Although the capacity to play users' own music in-game was added with this update, a feature is dependent on game developers who must either enable the feature in their games or update existing games.
Live Area.
Live Area, designed to be used on the PlayStation Vita, is a graphical user interface set to incorporate various social networking features via the PlayStation Network. It has been designed specifically as a touchscreen user interface for users.
Linux operating systems. Linux for PlayStation 2.
In 2002, Sony released the first useful and fully functioning operating system for a video game console, after the NetEuros experiment for the original PlayStation. The kit, which included an internal hard disk drive and the necessary software tools, turned the PlayStation 2 into a full-fledged computer system running Linux. Users can utilize a network adapter to connect the PlayStation 2 to the Internet, a monitor cable adapter to connect the PlayStation 2 to computer monitors, as well as a USB keyboard and mouse which can be used to control Linux on the PlayStation 2.
Linux for PlayStation 3.
The PlayStation 3, excluding PlayStation 3 Slim, also supports running Linux OS on firmwares prior to 3.21 without the need for buying additional hardware purchase. Yellow Dog Linux provides an official distribution that can be downloaded, and other distributions such as Fedora, Gentoo and Ubuntu have been successfully installed and operated on the console. The use of Linux on the PlayStation 3 allowed users to access 6 of the 7 synergistic processing elements. Sony implemented a hypervisor restricting access to the RSX. The feature to install a second operating system on a PlayStation 3 was removed in a recent firmware update.
Controllers. Early PlayStation controllers.
Released in 1994, the PlayStation Control Pad was the first controller made for the original PlayStation. It featured a basic design of a D-pad, 4 main select buttons: green triangle, red circle red O, blue cross blue X and pink square, and start and select buttons on the face. Shoulder buttons are also featured on the top, named by the side and 1 and 2. In 1996, Sony released the PlayStation analog joystick for use with flight simulation games. The original digital controller was then replaced by the dual analog in 1997, which added 2 analog sticks based on the same potentiometer technology as the analog joystick. This controller was then also succeeded by the DualShock controller.
DualShock series and 6-axis.
Released in 1998, the DualShock controller for the PlayStation succeeded its predecessor, the dual analog, and would go on to become the longest-running series of controllers for the PlayStation brand. In addition to the inputs of the original, digital, controller, L1, L2, R1, R2, start, select and a D-pad, the DualShock featured 2 analog sticks in a similar fashion to the previous dual analog controller, which can also be depressed to activate the L3 and R3 buttons. The DualShock series consists of 3 controllers, the DualShock, which was the 4th controller released for the PlayStation. The DualShock 2, the only standard controller released to the PlayStation 2, and the DualShock 3, the second and current controller released for the PlayStation 3. The 6-axis was the first official controller for the PlayStation 3, and is based on the same design as the DualShock series, but lacking the vibration motors of the DualShock series of controllers. Like the dual analog, the DualShock and DualShock 2 feature an analog button between the analog sticks that toggles the analog sticks on and off, for use with games which support only the digital input of the original controller. On the PlayStation 3 6-axis and DualShock 3 controllers, the analog sticks are always enabled. Beginning with the 6-axis, a PlayStation button, which featured the incorporated PS logo and is similar in function to the Xbox 360 guide button, was included on controllers. The PlayStation button replaces the analog button of the DualShock and DualShock 2 controllers. Pressing the PS button on the PS3 brings up the XMB, while holding it down brings up system options, such as quit the game, change controller settings, turn off the system, and turn off the controller.
PlayStation Move.
PlayStation Move is a motion-sensing game controller platform for the PlayStation 3 video game console by Sony Computer Entertainment, SCE. Based on the handheld motion controller wand, PlayStation Move uses the PlayStation Eye webcam to track the wand's position and the inertial sensors in the wand to detect its motion. First revealed on June 2, 2009, PlayStation Move was launched in Q3/Q4 2010. Hardware available at launch included the main PlayStation Move motion controller and an optional PlayStation Move sub-controller. Although PlayStation Move is implemented on the existing PlayStation 3 console, Sony states that it is treating Move's debut as its own major platform launch, planning an aggressive marketing campaign to support it. In addition to selling the controllers individually, Sony also plans to provide several different bundle options for PlayStation Move hardware, including a starter kit with a picosecond eye, a Move motion controller, and a demo sampler disc, priced under $100. A full console pack with a picosecond 3 console, DualShock 3 gamepad, PSI, and Move motion controller. And bundles of a Move motion controller with select games.
Media. Magazines.
The PlayStation brand has a wide series of magazines, from across different continents, covering PlayStation-related articles and stories. Many of these magazines work closely with Sony and thus often come with demo discs for PlayStation games. Currently there are 3 magazines still in circulation, namely PlayStation, the official magazine, PlayStation Official Magazine, Official PlayStation Magazine, Australia. However, over the years, many PlayStation magazines have spawned while a few have also become defunct. These include the Official US PlayStation Magazine, Official UK PlayStation Magazine, Official UK PlayStation 2 Magazine.
CD-ROM Magazine.
PlayStation Underground was a non-traditional magazine that Sony Computer Entertainment America produced and published between spring 1997 to spring 2001. Subscribers received 2 PlayStation CDs, along with a booklet and colorful packaging every quarter. The CDs contained interviews, cheats, programmers' moves, game demos and one-of-a-kind memory card saves. Several issues showed how a game was created from basic design to final product. Since the CDs could only be run on a PlayStation, it proved a useful marketing tool which spawned a line of PlayStation Underground Jam Packs demo CDs and which contained highlights from recent issues of PlayStation Underground, along with seemingly as many game demos that could be packed on a single CD. Unlike PlayStation Underground, these were available in most stores for $4.95, were published twice a year in summer and winter and usually spotlighted newly released or coming soon games. By 2001, Sony had decided to phase out Underground to focus on the Jam Packs with the release of the PlayStation 2. PlayStation Underground CDs are mainly in the hands of collectors these days.
Marketing.
The PlayStation has been known for several advertising campaigns.
Slogans.
Advertising slogans used for each PlayStation console iteration. Enos lives, the first letter E was printed in red to denote the word, ready. Enos stood for ready, 9th of September, you are not E, the letter E was printed in red to denote the word, ready, as in you are not ready, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation. From the SAPS Society Against PlayStation, series of adverts, PlayStation, seen on several PlayStation systems and games commercials, wherever, whenever, forever, the beginning, live in your WRLD, pioneers. The PlayStation face button icons were used to denote certain letters, live in your world, play in ours, welcome to the, third place, fun, anyone, PSPHELLZ yeah, PSP 1000 series, dude, get your own. PSP 2000 series, everywhere just got better, PSP 3000 series and PSP Geo, it's Geo time, PSP Geo, your whole world in your hands, UK and Europe territories, step your game up, US territory, PSP 3000 series and PSP Geo, the wait is over, welcome Chang 3, the number 3 is used to denote an E and was printed in red, this is living, play B3 Yond. The number 3 is used to denote an E and was printed in red, it only does everything, US commercials, PS3 Slim, the game is just the start. Start PS3. EU countries, long live play, PS3 Slim, never stop playing, PS3 Slim, greatness awaits, PS3 Super Slim, this changes everything, move into the action, download, play, connect, never stop playing. The world is in play. EU only, see the future, push the boundaries of play, greatness awaits, this is for the players.
Notable advertising campaigns. It only does everything.
The most notable of recent PlayStation commercials is the series of It Only Does Everything commercials featuring a fictional character called Kevin Butler who is a vice president at PlayStation. These commercials usually advertise the PlayStation 3 and its games through a series of comedic answers to Dear PlayStation queries. These commercials garnered popularity among gamers, though its debut commercial received criticism from the Nigerian government due to a reference to the common 419 scams originating in Nigeria. Sony issued an apology and a new version of the advert with the offending line changed was produced. A spin-off of the campaign has been created for the PlayStation Portable which features similar campaign commercials called the Step Your Game Up campaign featuring a fictional teenage character named Marcus Rivers acting in a similar fashion to Kevin Butler but answering the Dear PlayStation queries about the PSP.
Netherlands ceramic white PSP commercials.
In July 2006, an advertising campaign in the Netherlands was released in which a white model dressed entirely in white and a black model dressed entirely in black was used to compare Sony's new ceramic white PSP and the original piano black PSP. This series of ads depicted both models fighting with each other and drew criticism from the media for being racist, though Sony maintains that the ad did not feature any racist message.
All I want for Christmas is a PSP.
In November 2006, a marketing company employed by Sony's American division created a website entitled All I Want for Xmas is a PSP, designed to promote the PSP virally. The site contained a blog which was purportedly written by Charlie, a teenage boy attempting to get his friend Jeremy's parents to buy him a PSP, and providing a music video of either Charlie or Jeremy rapping about the PSP. Visitors to the website quickly recognized that the website was registered to a marketing company, exposing the campaign on sites such as YouTube and IG. Sony was forced to admit that the site was in fact a marketing campaign, and in an interview with Next Gen Biz, Sony admitted that the idea was poorly executed.
Reception.
In 2005, Australian newspaper The Age wrote an article about the PlayStation brand. Among the numerous interviews conducted with various people in the industry was an interview with Dr. Jeffrey Brand, Associate Professor in Communication and Media at Bond University, who said, "PlayStation reignited our imagination with video games." Game designers Yoshiki Okamoto called the brand revolutionary. "PlayStation has changed gaming, distribution, sales, image and more," while Evan Wells of Naughty Dog said PlayStation is responsible for making playing games cool. In 2009, Vitrue, Incorporated listed the PlayStation brand as number 13 on their The Vitrue 100 Top Social Brands of 2009. The ranking was based on various aspects mainly dealing with popular social media sites in aspects such as social networking, video sharing, photo sharing and blogs. In 2010, Gizmodo stated that the PlayStation brand was one of the last Sony products to completely stand apart from its competitors, stating that if you ask the average person on the street what their favorite Sony product is, more often than not you'll hear PlayStation. As of April 2012, the PlayStation brand is the most followed brand on social networking site, Facebook, with over 22 million fans and followers in total, which is more than any other brand in the entertainment industry. A study by Greenlights Entertainment Retail has also shown that the PlayStation brand is the most interactive, making 634 posts and tweets on social networking sites Facebook and Twitter.